Hello, everyone, and welcome
Hey,
to my. I'm hearing a sound. Do you hear like a little sound? Mm-mm. Okay, maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me. But hey, everyone, this is Nana.
hi, hello everyone. I'm Ngozi, and welcome to today's live. Happy to have you all here.
Okay, don't forget to like the live. Okay, we're gonna get straight into today's topic. Let us know in the comment section where you are watching from, and if it's your first time tuning in, we would love to get to know you. We do have fun on this channel, okay? And today's topic, we are we didn't go live last Tuesday. The Tuesday before, we talked about a topic which I said was going to be the last relationship topic, but you know how it goes. It's just that's what everyone wants to talk about these days, right? And it's something that it just ended up coming up again. So the last time we talked about what do Black women really want. We had some interesting conversation. We've talked about why are so many Black women single. Basically, we started off the relationship topics in February for Valentine's Day, and we've just been going since then. Okay, okay, tuning in from Charlotte.
All right, so basically to start off, we want to get into it quick. I had to pull up the section of video we're going to be showing. We're going to be playing a part of Tony Gaskins' video he just released yesterday. I don't know if you're in the relationship space and you think about OGs, Tony Gaskins is definitely like top tier. Like he makes a lot of good content. He puts women on game. Like he really, really speaks the truth, like legit. Like and he's a man of God, so he brings everything back to scripture. He was on Hardly Initiated a couple of months ago, and like he came back. He even went on there twice. Like I really really love his content. But this weekend, my sister, my cousins were on a call. Of course, the conversations always have to come up regarding relationships and dating. And Ngazi, I was like, you know what? I personally feel as if most men do not want to get married, right? If they had it their way, they would have a living girlfriend who's going to have kids with them. A woman that lives with them, has kids with them, basically plays the duties of a wife, but not necessarily marry her. That I believe that most men that get married really just do it kind of just to appease, like kind of like shut up women, especially women from a certain background, a certain upbringing, a certain culture. If they want to have 100% access to you, marriage is basically the only way, right? So of course there's like religion and there's like cultural components and like history and all that stuff. But I said that, then I was like, he thinks, and then I always got to try and defend the
No,
brother.
I'm done. You know, I'm done. I'm done.
Always try to defend the brothers. We get tired of
Always
her.
trying to
All my cousins on the phone, represent yourself. All of
I
them like,
no,
Ngozi,
y'all don't stand up for me, so I'm done defending men. I'm done.
Ngozi, all my cousins in the comments say, Ngozi, I agree with you 100%. You're right. You're right. And it's so timely because yesterday, videos popping up. I'm like, let me just play some of Tony Gaskins' video. And he made a 3-part series. He just put up the final video like last night. So it's like part 1, 2, and 3 of how did she get married, right? So he's talking about why a lot of women get so shocked and like confused when they see certain women married that they feel like they look better than, or that they're more attractive than, or
Or
that
they're
they
more
have
conservative than. They're
right,
more
or they're
than.
conservative than, right, or that they're more holier than, or they see a lot of women and they're just so shocked, like how did he pick her? But
Mm.
throughout the series, Tony Gaskins just outlines a few things. And one of the things he outlines is about personality, right? That a lot of these women that aren't the typical, when we have to say typical, because I could think they're gorgeous, someone else could think, but they're not like this beauty,
No,
this
we know what a baddie is. Let's
right?
not.
They're not the stand,
You know what
they
a
don't
baddie is.
fall under the like standard beauty definition of the standard of beauty that people are pushing out right now. But they end up getting, partner. And he said a lot of it has to do with personality, really, and or growing up or having a lot of male friends and learning men. That a lot of women don't really understand men, right? And I could agree to an extent because even when you think about when I talk about me and my cousin, we always have these conversations. Nana being her own little la la land, we always have to like pull her back, like nah, like you trying to give too much, like nah, you're wrong, right? She claims she's gonna stop defending them, but we'll see. So basically in this make sure y'all liking this video, y'all. As y'all coming in, like this video. Mia, you better be here because Tony Gaskins is your man, so you better
She
be
always
here.
brings Tony Gaskins,
Right.
one of the real ones, and I
So
like him so much because he holds men and women accountable. Like it's not. I feel like he's very balanced. Even though his channel is for women, I'm not gonna lie. I'm sure it's probably like 80-90% of his viewership is women, but he also tells women like stop
he
getting
doesn't
on your.
he doesn't pander to women.
Right.
He doesn't
Right.
pander. Some women like all of that pain. I don't want anyone pandering and telling me what they think I want to hear just to make me happy. Yes, me is in the building. We're talking about Tony Gaskins. Yes, you got to. Did you watch the series yet? I know it just came out yesterday, but I
I
watched
just
like
watched one and two, and number two hit.
number two. That's what we're gonna play a clip from. So we're waiting for y'all like the video. Let us know y'all watching from. I'm about to share the screen. Let's just play it real quick. But this goes to my point of like a lot of men. Where are our men?
What Gino, you back from 2 weeks ago?
Gino,
Where's
please,
Gino?
You got a comment limit if you're here. You got a comment. You got 5 comment limit in this live. Who else is in here? Why am I forgetting?
Where's Brad at? Where's
We
Brad?
Brad. No, we missed one. We're our OGs. We missed one.
Ernest? Ernest?
No, I'm
Little
missing
Ernest.
Lil Ernest. What's the other ones? Like legit, where y'all at? Cause y'all gotta defend. Y'all gotta defend. I'm gonna play Justine. I don't have to share it. I'm gonna share it in the description box of this video once we're done. But I'm about to
We
play
need men to join this today. We don't even want to hear from women. We don't want to hear from
all
women.
the men. Everyone send to your brother, your cousins, your uncle. We need men. We need to hear their opinion. Cause I'm telling you, it's like when I was watching it Monday, I literally just like screamed because it's like Tony Gaskins was on our conversation on Saturday. It's like
Right.
he
We
just
want to talk about this tonight.
we
We're
were
supposed
going to talk about it. So we had a whole nother topic. We had a whole nother show. Blah, blah. I said, no, we have to talk about this because like Tony Gaskins was so spot on. So let me start playing this. I'm gonna share my screen. Let me start. Let me no, this is fair use. You're gonna so this is basically defend a lot of men will talk about there aren't enough feminine, fit, cooperative, young American women.
to. I'm checking these.
Yes, Lil Ernest. Okay, so I'm about to let me present. Let me
Well,
present.
while you're doing that, I see a comment. She said, I feel like sometimes black men aren't masculine or lack it. Do you think it's because most of them are raised in a single mom home? I wouldn't say black men are masculine. I don't, I wouldn't say that. If anything, I feel like they'd be too sometimes. Well, masculinity and aggression are not necessarily the same thing. So I guess I'm conflating the two. But I don't know if I would say they're not masculine, but do you think it's because most of them are raised in a single mother home? Single mother home affecting masculinity, yeah, it's possible, but I think if anything, the single mother home is affecting them wanting to get married because
Right.
they're growing up in a household seeing a man and woman do things together and live life together and take care of the house together and take care of the kids together, and like they don't grow up seeing that. So if anything, I think being raised in a single mother home is a big factor as to why we see a lot of black men not really feeling like marriage is a
It's,
must.
it's like an achievement or like it's something to
If it happens, it happens. Yeah. Okay. Like it's not. How like a lot of women have marriage like as a goal,
hmm
check off. The way people say I want to buy a house, like the American dream. Like most women's list, marriage is going to be on one of their lifetime goals.
like we said, Valentine's Day is for women, it's not for men. Like
Yeah.
pushed on the way relationships and dating is pushed on, I'm presenting now, is pushed on women a bit differently than it is on men. I don't think men walk around like to sound like I have to be married. Like y'all can see, let me know if you guys
Yeah,
can see.
see it. Make it bigger.
Okay, I'm gonna start from 126, but I'm going to play a few minutes. This is fair use. It's going to be linked down below, giving Tony Gaskins his credit, right? But you have to hear it from the horse's mouth because if I say it, it's not going to hit the same.
Shut up and stay out the comments. Tell you just like that right there. I ain't got the time for it. Because if it was not needed, my books would not be full with me talking to women about how to get a man if it was not needed. Now you might not need it, but that don't mean somebody else don't need it and want to know about how to do this. So y'all please let this be for the people who it need to be for. If it's not for you, then go to another channel. If it's not for you, that's what you need to understand. Okay. So now back to what I was saying. When it comes down to women married, for one, you got to understand that men don't want to get married. Now we speaking in general terms, not speaking every single man, speaking the majority. Men don't want to get married because the thought of being with one woman for the rest of your life when your body feels wired to sleep around. So now we know we not supposed to be sleeping around under Christ, but it's not a lot of men under Christ. And the men who are under Christ still be struggling and acting a fool. So understand that, holy roller. But what you have to realize is, so a man already doing something that is against his nature. And a lot of men do it for economic positioning. They do it to have a stable family. This is mostly what white men and Asian men do. They do it to have a stable family, to have support, and to extend their lineage through their children. And they get a woman to be a helpmeet to take care of the children while they go out and conquer the world financially, making money. Now, black men in America specifically, I don't know about Africa and other parts of the world, but in America, black men come from a lot of trauma and come from a lot of brokenness. So that's why black men, when it comes to marriage, a lot of times are exceptions to the rule because we the only race that was once slaves in America on a large scale. It could have been a few, Hispanics or whatever sprinkled in there somewhere. But, and so we also the most undervalued and underappreciated. So, like the Native Americans who the land was stolen from, they get a check. I had two Native American friends who they was getting a check as kids for $600 a month. So they was always fitted. And we was like, how y'all like, oh, we Indian. We got Native American in us. Like, shoot, I probably got some in me too. I'm a little bit of Cherokee or Seminole, one of them. I need to get me one of them $600 a month check. They were always fitted. But see, black people, we come from slavery. We help build America, and we don't get no check. Their form of a check to a black person is welfare, food stamps, EBT, and welfare, and Section 8. They like, listen, this where y'all supposed to be at. So we're gonna give y'all Section 8 and food stamps. And this y'all.
Take off flying first.
Man, oh, am I muted?
Yeah, I had to mute you because you were muffling. You were messing up the sound. So go ahead.
I was saying, we're going to go back to because other parts I want to highlight, but the first part, we got to take this in sections so we don't lose our train of thought. He went in to talk about the reason most men, but specifically black men, don't truly want to be married, right? And I'm saying the reason why when I heard this, I just screamed and I was like, oh my gosh, like somebody else is saying it. I'm not crazy because a lot of the content is very convenient. Men give a lot of excuses, especially black men. Oh, the women are not feminine enough. Oh, the women are not fit enough. Oh, the women are too combative and non-cooperative. Oh, the women think they're this. Oh, the women are that. And I'm not saying that those things don't exist. I'm not going to sit here and defend women and say that we're perfect because we're not. We have our own issues. But at the same time, we have to be real. The number one reason is mindset. It's the mindset that particularly black men have compared to non-black men.
Because he made it clear that no man really wants to get married.
Thank you. That if a man had it their way, I said this on Saturday. People, my cousin already confirmed. Anyone else who's on the call, come in here and confirm my words. If men had it their way, none of them would get married. They would have live-in girlfriends and have families with them.
And that's what happens a lot in America.
Thank you. Listen, I'm landing there. Only the few who are really into the church, who are really into, morals, who have a high moral standing, who have a high level of integrity. Let's be real, that's not majority of men or women, period, right? Only those ones will really be seeking after, I need to be married, I need to be under this covenant, I need to be married, I need to be married. It's like they say, why buy the milk when you can have the cow for free? When you could have, right? Like the cow going to still give you the milk. What pushes, for example, we talk about this all the time. Someone called us immigrants in our comments. I keep laughing when I think about that.
Because let's go back to Africa.
We talk about all the time for the part of the world we're from. We're Nigerian American. Our parents are Nigerian. marriage is such a big thing. Like it's such like a, and it's not just for women, it's also for men. It's a status. It's a
Social.
status symbol. It's a social thing. Like marriage is so up here. But let's be real. One of the a lot of factors contribute to why marriage is so important to them. It's religion, it's society, it's a lot of factors, but I do think a big factor is wanting to have 100% access to a woman, because the culture in that part of the world, for the most part, this cohabitating, all this stuff is not. It's starting. It's there now, but it's not as seen as common as it is in America. Like it's not like as much of a standard as a way of life, right? So if a man wants access to you 24/7, he has to marry you.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not
That's
marrying you because
good.
he's not marrying you because he loves you so much and he can't live without you and you're the best woman in the world. Yeah, all that stuff is nice. It's cute, ha ha. But let's be real. There's a personal, selfish reason why he's choosing to get married for his own benefit. It's not because you're so special. But in this part of the world, like Tony Gaskins, he talked about trauma. He talked about the trauma of like, and I think that's something that we can't skip through, especially when it comes to the Black community, right? So a lot of men grew up in single family households, grew up with fathers who abandoned them. Black men particularly, I'm talking about. So they don't look at marriage as like a positive thing. They don't look at marriage as like something like, oh, like I gotta get, if anything, something they're really fearful of. And I'll even argue that even the men now in this day and age who are not like American born, for example, like Nigerian men or like other foreign men, they've also started to adapt some of that mindset. I'm telling you, I meet so many men 35 plus, they're not anti-marriage, but they're very apprehensive about it. Like it's something they're very like, do something, do I really need it? I see people, my friend is going through a divorce now. This person's going through a divorce now. I see people who are perfect. And once they get married, they start having all these issues. I see people who are doing so well. Once they get married, they start having all these issues. So even the Nigerian men that all the women are running after now, even them, they're even it's starting to even seep into them because they're still in America and it's a part of that Black American fabric. Like we're saying, when we refer to Black America, people get offended. Oh, well, you don't live here or you're not from here. But you have to understand, when someone sees me, I'm Black.
Right.
I'm not Black American in the sense of someone who had their grandparents were born here, their great grandparents. But I was going through this in the comments with a few people, is that like I still have a Black experience. You
Right.
can't say that I'm not. You know what I mean? Like of course,
It's not like we were born in Nigeria. We
right, I
came
came here 3 years ago. Like
Right.
it's only now people are really understanding. Like, oh, there's different even types of Black people. Like we're all Black. Yeah, like it may be a little different, as we said. Even when there's certain comments that men make, some men, one of our videos, men kept going all through the spamming it. Where are all the women that don't have kids? Where are all the women that don't have kids? I'm like, huh? Like I couldn't understand. Like is that a difficult thing to find? But you know what I mean? So I do think there are, I'm not going to say there's not cultural differences here and there, but overall, I'm still Black. And I can still speak to an extent of the Black experience because of my experience, I'm not white. I'm a Black woman. You know what I mean? So I do, like I said, that's why I said even our brothers that were born in other African countries, Caribbean countries, this rhetoric is also infiltrating their spaces, their podcasts. Are someone saying, oh, is this a Nigerian American podcast or is this a Jamaican American? They're watching all the red pill guys. They're watching all the chats on the things on YouTube and Instagram. They're not saying, oh, I'm only watching this person because they're from where I was born. No. So they're still being affected by these things, right? But Tony Gaskins could have been more spot on. Like I'm telling you, like, and I think this is part of it's almost like why, right? We know the why, we know there's trauma, we know that stuff, but I just feel as if I would respect a man telling me that's Stacey's reasons versus putting the blame on not having marriage material women to choose from. That's the part that's annoying because I think that is a common theme in all these chats and all these things and all these. Oh, there's no. I was even watching one live today, Nana, and that guy that I was going. I'm not even going to say his name. Going and going. But at the end of the day, he's not even married to the woman that he's living with. That he's saying, oh, it's good, and we're all going to be single and do this and that. But you found a reasonable woman. You found a woman you're saying is good, but you still didn't even marry her. So is that what we're going to be? Is that the goal for us? She's still worse off than, in my opinion, she's just as bad as the women you trying to get on, right?
Because she's still single.
Right. She's exactly, not to say being single is a bad thing, but if you're trying to get on women for being single, the woman living with you and playing wife is still single because you didn't marry her. So
Mhm.
don't try to put her on a pedestal because she chose to deal with your crazy behind. No.
Gino said, if you want Christian marriages, he's a good guy to listen to. And RC Blake's, yes.
Yes, I'll take no RC Blake.
This might cause controversy, but RIP, I still didn't dislike Kevin Samuels either.
I'll say it, girl. People
I
don't
honestly don't think their message is that different. I just think Kevin Samuels, he did it, was more demeaning and more rude.
and it was his following. Honestly, Kevin
Following
Samuels is more of the issue. It's his following.
Song was very
Yeah,
nasty.
like he had a cult following.
Right.
Even to this day, when I see certain comments men make, I know they watch Kevin Samuels.
Mm.
Is she fit and feminine cooperative? No one thinks that. No one just sits down and thinks, I want to fit in feminine. That's Kevin Samuels. That's his words. You know what I mean? So I think if people could take away the emotion from him, Kevin Samuels said, Tony Gaskins said it himself. He quoted on her initiative 70. He agreed with what 70 or 90% of what Kevin Samuels said.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the 10 or 30% that was so dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
He said it. He agreed with majority of what he said. He wasn't lying. He spoke the truth, but it was the delivery and it was that cult-like following that was really
right. RC Blake's and Tony Gaskins have a woman following for the most part, so they're not going to have the cult-like, oh man, oh this
type of caliber. I feel like of just overall audience. I feel like they have more people that are more reflective, people that are more willing to do the work, people that aren't not as quick to quick to blame the other person and put and not want to take accountability.
Little Ernest said, African parents want you marrying a doctor, lawyer, engineer, or high-level athlete. No excuses. Haha, I know Little Ernest in Atlanta with all the Africans, so he know what's up. But these days, you'll be shocked. African parents getting a little desperate. I don't think they're looking for all of that anymore, to be honest. I think the preference is just they want you to be with another African. That's number one. And then everything else, you could try and work it out because they seen what's happening in the climate. They didn't, my parents' generation, they didn't have to deal with the stuff that we're dealing with. They really, really didn't. I'm a 20-year-old male C student tuned into. Okay.
Thanks for joining.
Gino, you almost at your 5. Gino said, wife must be childless, young, skinny, and natural texture hair. What's your definition of young? Kevin Samuels teaches women how to get a husband. R.C. Blakes and Tony Gaskins teaches you how to maintain a marriage. I'm against the marriage, though.
You don't play, Gino. We're gonna find you a wife, a nice wife, because Gino
gonna come back in 1 year and testify how he found his wife, how he's married.
Maybe even in this comment section, he gonna. I serve a living God. But yeah, so for the men in here, because I'll play a little more because he talks about what he feels the women later on in the video, what the women who are getting married are doing right. And he talks about the stubbornness that a lot of single women have, so that's what we talk about why we love Tony Gaskins, because he still holds women accountable. He's not here pandering. You're perfect. These men got to step up. There's nothing you need to change. You're good as you are, because let's be real, like it's issues on both sides that's contributing to this whole dating relationship issue that we're having, especially in the Black community in 2024. No one is blameless. Nobody is perfect. But what I will always say is I feel like women overall are a bit more receptive to advice and more willing to make changes, right? Or they're more accountable.
They have to be, because they need to have children by a certain age. You have to change. You have to be accountable. What are you going to do? Even if you don't want to, even if it hurts, even if you don't agree with it 100%, if you're not getting the result you want, you have to pivot. But a man doesn't necessarily have to pivot as much because they have more options. They can have bad characteristics, maybe find another girl that's going to deal with it, especially if they have money, especially if they're tall, especially if they look good. They don't have that they don't have that sense of urgency. They don't have that time clock. They don't have that. They don't have those things that women have to think about. So it just makes more sense that sometimes men can be more, in my opinion, a lot of men, as they get older, they're less adaptive. That's a human thing, though.
It goes both ways. Yeah, it goes both ways. Gino's comments. My ex was 18. I was 30. She's 121 pounds. We're down to the ones place.
Married to her, he better know how much she
Was
paid.
dreadlocks. I'm not getting married to go. And you know what really happened? Because I think you heard my Ethiopian coworker keeps trying to set me up with an African woman. If you date black women too long, it will damage your ability to pair bond. Why you say that, Gino?
Pair
And what,
bond? What does that mean?
like emotionally, like I think he's talking something psychological.
Wes, are you black? Are you black or are you Hispanic? Okay, let's go to the next part. What's the next part we're gonna talk about?
Wait, let me play it.
Up the volume a little bit.
Okay.
Up the volume and start. I really like the part when he talks about being adaptive, being a
Yeah, listen, that's where I'm starting at right here.
not immediately. Don't start immediately where it starts.
Yeah, that's I'm moving back a little. Yeah, it's at 18. All right, y'all. Y'all ready?
Yeah, we ready.
I think I'm gonna start cutting carbs. I need to drop my belly fat.
These little commercials.
Typically the women who get the opportunity to, and attention to the stereotype. And so, but when her personality, one thing my wife had mastered is how to be a chameleon. And those are typically the women who get the opportunity to be married to a decent man. Don't mean the marriage gonna last. Don't mean the man gonna be amazing. But the women who typically get the opportunity to marry is they learn how to adapt. They learn how to read the room, and they not just stuck in their one way of being just who they are. They learn how to evolve, how to grow, how to adapt. And that's a skill that's developed, and that's something that we have to develop as adults, to where you can't hammer a screw. You hammer a nail, but you got to screw a screw. And some people wanna screw a nail, or they wanna hammer a screw. And they just say, this is who I am, this is how I am. And they don't wanna adapt, they don't wanna grow. And that's what you have to realize. Because see, men are very finicky creatures. Men can be creatures of habit. Men could be creatures of habitat. And so, if a man habitat is thrown too far off, if his existence is too shaken up, it'll make him not want to coexist with that person. But when a woman can figure out how to allow a man to be himself, like to kind of relax in his skin, and he will adapt to her without her asking, because a man is very intuitive and a man really
Aisha, how did he
scans
lose
his
you?
surroundings. So a man learns how to be a chameleon as well. And if you notice, a chameleon is not a manipulator or a deceiver, it's an adapter. It assimilates to the environment. And so a man know how to do that. And that's why it's so many women that get tricked out their draws, because a man can mirror.
There's one part he's I'm trying to get to this one part where he said, but now you can continue to read
He
it.
said he lost me, and I love Tony, but we go deeper. He wants us to adapt, but adapt to what? What does he want you to adapt to?
You have to watch the full 3-part series. Oh, Aisha, hi Aisha. She's the one that moved from Atlanta to Charlotte, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, you have to watch the full 3-part series. I'm gonna link it down below. But basically, because there's a part of the clip where he talks about, like a minute after, is about compromising, right? And he talks about how it's annoying when women say that men don't compromise, but he believes men compromise even more than women.
They just don't talk about it.
Right. And women always call in, they book in, and he'll tell them one thing that he thinks that they need to change. So when you're talking about the chameleon, and he says it's not about he's not telling women to go against their religious beliefs. He's not telling them to go and be promiscuous, do any of that crazy stuff. But it could be something as simple as like a personality trait they have that is not like that favorable. And a lot of women will tell him like, Tony, I don't think I can do that. Like, I don't think if that's what it's going to take, I may be single for the rest of my life. So when he's talking specifically to that whole chameleon part, like he said, it's not about being something that you're not or trying to pretend. It's about being adaptable and being flexible. And I think that's something that we talk about how people just getting older struggle with, right? It's not necessarily a woman or a male thing. But like Nana said, she feels as if because of the way relationships are set up, that women are more quick to be more flexible when they want something, right? Because they
We have to
we
be.
have to be, right? Because if you're in a situation where you look at your eyes on a prize, you can't be as stuck in your ways as a man. That's just the truth. Because a man could be like, yeah, for example, like I don't. Let me give you something that may sound like I can't move in and live with a woman, right? A man could say something like that, and it would be like, okay, this is like it's understandable. Like I think the preference would be that a man doesn't come in and move with you. A lot of women would prefer that, but there's women at a certain point in their life who have done certain things for themselves, made a lot of sacrifices, and they could also have that mindset like I'm not leaving my comfort, I'm not leaving where I live, whether it's my apartment, my house, my city. I can't move for a man. So both people have that mindset, right? Like we're not trying to bend. Who is the one that's most likely to find someone who will bend for them? It's the man.
And yes.
That's just the truth. There's men right now. God, they'll tell me women are in other states begging them to come and live with them. Especially at a certain age. I know we don't like to talk about these things as women. We have to have real honest conversations. Women that if you are, I can't leave Houston. I'm a Houston girl. I can't live nowhere else.
Houston.
I'm H-Town stand up. I can't move to Colorado for no man. I'm telling you, there's a line. You don't do it. There's a line of women who do, especially for a man who's well off and is a decent character.
You know what that reminds me of? In December, I was talking to my guy friend, and he was talking about he's older, right? Let's say like in his early 40s, and he was talking about talking to a girl, and she living in another state. And he was like, "Well, she has to move here if we're gonna end up being anything." I said, "But how is that fair?" He was like, "I was like, I would never move for no man." He said, "Nana, how old are you?" I kindly told him my age. He said, "Oh yeah, no, that's why you still have some time."
Okay.
That's why this girl is not as young as you. If she wants me to take her serious, she has to move here to
I'm not
Charlotte.
saying that is right. It's not saying that is fair. But what we're saying is that even though I agree that a lot of men are very stubborn, especially at a certain age, but society allows them to be that way.
Selfish.
They're selfish and stubborn and not flexible and not adaptable. But because of the setup of things, so they can get away with that more. But if a woman navigates and walks around in the world as selfish and as self-centered as a man, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be real difficult.
That's what he meant by adaptive. But
Yeah.
if it's something you don't want, you can't force yourself to do something you really, really don't want. You know what I mean? And I don't think like the moving thing, I don't think that's fair. I don't think, man, if you want a woman to move at the minimum, she should have a ring on her finger.
Yep.
Minimum. You should not. I don't care if I'm not moving for a man, and he doesn't even claim me as a relationship. We just talking, and I have to move there for him to know me to enter a relationship.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But you know what? A lot of people argue, a lot of men argue that they still, when you're long distance, it's still hard to properly date.
It's not real.
Right. So it's like they feel as if for him he may have this mindset that for him to even really get to know if she's the one or really spend enough time with her.
Be pretending.
Right. They have to be in the same proximity. So basically she has to move for them to even properly date.
Or he can meet a girl here. There's many girls here.
I'm not telling her to do that. I've talked about in live before. I would never tell a woman to move from in she's not at least engaged to. I would not give that advice, especially a woman 30 plus. I wouldn't give, but I understand the logic behind the mindset behind it, but I still think for a woman it's risky. You know what I mean? It's very risky.
Okay, Gino, you passed your 5 limit, but I'm gonna read a couple more. This is so true. I changed my core being into a lower class womanizer to be more desirable to American Black women. As a Black man, you have to have swagger and edge and be hyper masculine. I had to adapt. I attracted mostly foreign and white women before I adapted to a more thug persona, aesthetic, and paradigm. Interesting. Mia says, it seemed like men be knowing their worth more than a woman based on both gender actions. Let me read that again. It seemed like men be knowing their worth more than a woman based on both gender. I'm telling you, men do know their worth. They know. That's like it's really, really It's interesting. Aisha said, I agree with that. As we get older, we get more stubborn. That's a good way to test a woman. If she's unwilling to move, she's not submissive enough. More fish in the sea.
Bye. Bye. Bye,
So
boy.
we have to decide if we really just want to be single our whole life. I do agree. Some people are just gonna be alone.
Irrespective of gender. And I think it's a hard pill to swallow, right? Because I think even going back to the main, the topic of this video, Tony Gaskins explains the real reason Black men are scared of marriage, right? He talks about the trauma and the because even in, I think it's part 3 or is it end of, I think it's part 3. He goes into talking about what also makes men desire marriage is the examples they see.
Yep.
Right? So it's either their personal examples or what's the two? He had two reasons. It's like their own personal life.
That's why he said the personal examples. Then he said them just want to do right by a woman.
They just want to do right for their own personal. Like I just want to do the right, but it's like people lead by example, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think I talk about this being in professional school, and I met Korean guys, all the different ethnicities, Chinese, Indian, different European, and the age that these. I remember coming home one day telling my like I cannot believe a 26-year-old man is engaged. Like I felt like it was so weird because being a Black woman, I just feel like I don't see Black men at 26 talking about marriage or even desiring, talk less of actually doing it. And I remember I will never forget having a conversation with my Korean colleague. And I'm like, how old are you? He's like, I'm 26. And I'm like, you don't feel like you're too young? He looked at me like I was stupid. He was like, huh? He had this whole plan. Yeah, we're engaged. We're going to get married after I graduate. Then we're going to move here. This guy had a whole plan.
He's like, I want to be fair, right? Because y'all say 2024, I don't give men excuses no more. That's the old me. I don't give them excuses. Most of them lie. Tony Gaskins says that they lie. So I don't give men excuses. But we cannot and we must not ignore economics in this situation.
Yep.
Okay? I do believe, and yes, Justina's in the chat. She'll always say that that's an excuse, but to an extent. I personally do believe one of the main reasons many Black men are scared of marriage or not getting married, they don't have money. They don't have money. I really, really think that
they don't have as much money they think they need to be married.
Both. Because I do believe, like, for example, you're looking at people in professional school. I know you don't like to say your field, you're in healthcare, right? Those people in your professional school, they're going to automatically graduate making a certain amount of money. Those people in professional school of other races, most likely their parents have good jobs. Even if they want to get married in school.
Parents got laundromats in New York.
Thank you. Even if that's good business, they make money. Okay, we know you don't need a degree to make money in 2024. Their parents can even pay for the wedding while both of these kids are in school acquiring loans. You even have classmates. I have one of my close friends, and when I went to school, father paid a tuition cash, and we went to a private school that was expensive. Okay, so we would be remiss to have this conversation and not include economic factors.
You know why? I don't like when you bring up that argument, right? But after getting older and meeting more women, the only reason why I could kind of understand that more is that narrative, right? When we talk about economics, right? The only reason why I could kind of give it to is that most women want to be with someone who's making around them or more.
Thank you.
So I talk to this all the time. I meet a lot of Black women. A question they always tell me, I want to be with a Black man. I said, oh, that's fine. And then let's say they'll bring a certain number, like how much they want their partner to make. You know the number one question I ask them? Does he have to be Black? Because I think the issue is that I think that you don't have to be rich to be. You can make an average salary and be married. But these men will combat is that the women don't want the average man. The women on their level don't want men that are making what they're making. But I feel like the only reason I can say that is still nuanced because that's at a certain age. When you're 25, 26, 50,000 is a lot of money. 40,000 is a lot. You know what I mean? So like, unless you're like a freaking big YouTuber, you're an athlete. If you're living in a day-to-day, I wasn't making 40K at 25, 26. I wasn't. You know what I mean? So I would have easily married somebody making 40K at 25.
It's still the mindset before the money.
Thank you. It's still the mindset. I would have easily done it. Would I do it now? No. I won't sit here and lie on this life to you. I wouldn't. right? So I do think that the part of it is that it's not that these people probably making more coming from better families, not better families, but families that have more money, is that they're also doing it younger.
Mm.
So when you're younger, the way you think and what your standards are and like what your prerequisites are a bit different.
I always say it. There's a naivety you need to get married. I personally always say I think there's a level of like naivety you need to even be in a relationship at this point in your life, because as the older you get, you notice people start thinking too much. They start overthinking. Like you said, that's a great point you made. Like at 24, 25, you don't even know anything. What do you know?
Someone brought 40K to me, I'd be happy. Like, yo, that's a lot of money. I never saw it. I never seen it. You know what I mean? So like I still think that it's deeper than just, like I understand like the but I don't think that, I mean, the men in the comments, little Ernest, all the men in the comments, what you feel is the main reason that, because we had a video, I cut up a live of our video a couple weeks ago that people are going crazy in the comment section, talking about not about women not being fit, feminine, and cooperative, but if you be honest with yourself as men who are unmarried in this chat, what is your main barrier? What is it that you feel as if you need to personally achieve, or what is your reason why you feel as if you haven't got married to this
They
point?
need a house, a Mercedes, and they need a house, a Mercedes, and making six figures before they. I'm telling you, that's what I personally think. I think the standard that men are giving themselves is ridiculous, especially in a society where women work and make money. But I understand, as a man, you want respect and you want that power. So money does come with respect and power. So I definitely understand a man wanting to be financially stable, but it's just, I don't know. Little Ernest said men are afraid of marriage because they lack financial resources.
Well, look at Gino. Look, no, Gino said he disagreed. Look, I know Gino's at his comment limit, but look at Gino.
You know, said, I disagree with the money issue y'all brought up. I know women who make more than me but are willing to marry me now. So you would agree a lot of women are not that pressed about money.
No, it's the 5% Instagram baddies that the men want to act like they're the average woman. That's the 5% Instagram baddies online that want men to fly them out first class to Maldives. That's 5. I don't even say 5% is even too high. It's 2 to 3%.
Right.
But I'm telling you, a lot of women will look past money if the man is well behaved. Because women make money, like you said, in a developed world like America, money's not as important.
Right.
If you talk about in developing countries, yes, money would probably be like number one. But because the same women that you claim are so into money, they're paying their bills now. They're
Right.
paying their rent now. They're paying their car note now. They're buying themselves expensive meals now. So why would they're buying themselves the bags now? So why would they go meet a man and expect him to go and do 100%? That makes no sense.
There are some. I know women. There are some women that even if they're working, they're making money now, they still want a man that makes way more money than them.
Yeah, they're not in reality. They're not in reality. Like it's just like it's not to say it's everyone wants it, but it's Tony Gaskins talked about 2207 about compromising on your preferences. That a lot of women don't want to compromise on their preferences. We talk, and that hit me because we always talk about on the channel preferences versus standards. They're very different. The average woman will want to be with a man that makes more than them, of course.
Average woman wants to be with a man 6'2" and above.
Dude, there's nothing wrong with having those that's a normal preference. Why? Same way I feel like the average guy want to be with a gorgeous woman.
Right.
But it can't be a standard. That's the difference. Like it's different if you have the opportunity to get it. Why wouldn't you get it? I don't understand. Why wouldn't you choose that? But it's not a do or die.
Okay, so Mia says, so why is it that women and men act the way they do? Both genders may have mom and dad trauma, but men don't settle versus a woman.
Conditioning. Let me tell you, Mia. I talk about. I mentioned the other live, even this live, about how Valentine's Day is for women, right? Women grow up, unless you live in a box, unless you don't live in. I don't know where you'd have to live. Marriage and relationships, the pressure is put more on women. Like as in terms of to attain it. Is not so much put on men. So Disney, Cinderella, her lost shoe, the guy, whatever, this one, that one. I had a class on this, why they don't let some people don't want their children watching Disney. And it sounded so crazy being in high school, but getting older, I now get it because it sets unrealistic standards for women. Even though you think it's these small cartoons and people are just running up and down. Like women, the whole idea of relationships and marriage. I grew up and I had friends who had their children's names. They knew what age you wanted to be married. They knew where they want. How many men know that? How many men grew up saying, I want to be married at this age. My son's name is going to be this. My daughter's name is going to be this. I don't feel like the average man fantasizes it and puts it on this pedestal that women do. because it's not marketed to y'all, and it doesn't give you the same status, especially in the developed world like America, the way it does for men. So I think that has a big part to do with it. That like women, and it's a security part, right? I think a lot of women also look at marriage as synonymous. It's synonymous with security. It's synonymous with like having that covering. You know what I mean? Versus men are go into it and look at it for other things.
They're looking at what they might lose.
Right.
Yeah. What do you mean by but men don't settle versus women? Because I do. Doesn't everyone settle? I don't know if I would say men don't settle.
Jackson said he feel like men settle. This way he talked about his video. You know, y'all gotta watch these part threes. He said that that's why if men didn't settle, most of men would be with a woman that looks like J-Lo. In terms of looks, body, everything that people men, and I used to argue this. We've had conversations about this. None of my cousins. I said I feel like men even settle more than women. I think they do. It's just that
someone would just stay by herself.
Thank you. I think I definitely think men settle more than women. It just maybe there's a few things that a man would never settle on, but a woman may overlook. So
Right.
a woman may have 10, 15 things she don't want to settle on. A man may have two. But even if that girl has everything else, Justino always says it, even if that woman has everything else, but she has one of those two things he would never look over, he's not gonna do with it.
Like having a child.
Right. Versus a woman, she'll have a list of 15, but she really like this guy. She'll be more flexible. She'll be like, oh, I really don't want a man with kids, but it's just one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I really don't want this. No.
That's divorce, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like they'll like look past things.
They'll look past, but men have like hard nose. Like, no. Like, I can't deal with it. Right? But men settle. They settle. Huh? I see it all the time.
All the time. Aisha said we really have to ask ourselves in 2024 if in 2024 we want marriage or just companionship. I'm looking for more companionship than marriage.
Aisha, and if you don't mind me asking, do you have children or do you want children? Because I think what you're saying is a very, very good point, but I think it's hard to look at it that way for women who desire children.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of women, let's be real, marriage is not about just the companionship, it's about the family. Right. It's about having a man to have that companionship with, but also to have kids with, and especially women of a certain cultural background. And that's what puts in more pressure for them because they're going into marriage to get the full picture they have for themselves.
Right. So I think Gino, we could take him off his limit because he's being good today. So as long as the comments are good, you don't got to limit you. But with Gino,
we need a super chat because we letting you talk today. So Gino, put something in this. Put something in this chat, okay, Gino?
Gino said, men in my family usually get married mid-20s, and we Black American. Most of the men in my family, including my brothers, be saying when you gonna start a family. My family is very traditional. Okay, y'all from the South? Gino said, Mia Chica, men only married to be right by God, to fulfill their duty to their family, to carry on your family lineage. They marry for higher purpose, but marriage doesn't make us happy.
Yo, this is a little bit, Tony Gaskins kind of spoke to this.
Yeah, he disagreed about the money issue. He said, I love red pill content, but a lot of the talking points are just that, talking points. Some things on the internet is not true. Those women are minority. Yes, the Instagram baddies are minority. The women that are looking for men to pay their rent are minority.
Putting men in jail, putting money in their commissary. Are you kidding me? Come on. We want to talk about these extremes. I just like, y'all got to be real. Those women they're there, but they're far from, at least maybe in major cities, maybe Atlanta and Houston. You know, Houston it gets a little bad here, they say, but they're not the average.
Mia said, Gina, wow, that makes so much sense. Since a man don't want marriage, they can be picky and cut off women as they please due to no desire to do it for real. And Gino said, Mia, in my family, they pressure men to go to college. That's good. You got a good family. Marriage, college. My best friend wanted to be married soon as he graduated high school. It didn't happen with the woman he had kids with, but I was the best man at his wedding, age 22. Wow. Where is this town? Everybody needs to move to this town. Is this a small town?
Mm-hmm.
Chimobi said, men have finally understood hypergamous nature of women. So we will rather work hard, make money, and make something of ourselves so we can have the pick of the litter. Yes.
At this point, we gotta give Chimobi a little bit of the spotlight, right? Because fun you mentioned that, of course, I could tell from your name you're Nigerian. I don't know if you were born in Nigeria or if you came, to the Western world later, or maybe you're calling in from Nigeria. Let me know your deeds.
No, Chimobi lives in Atlanta, I believe.
Oh, yeah,
from Charlotte to Atlanta.
Okay. So a lot of men, especially Nigerian men, you always have to bring it back to them. They're very big on this mindset, right? This is a lot of their talking points. I meet so many guys that say women love money. Women love this is an average man, especially Nigerian man, just get money. Just get money. That's all. You just get money. And I agree with it to an extent. But Chimobi, I don't know how old you are. I don't know how far you are down you're on the line. I don't know how transparent you want to be. We respect people's privacy. At the same time, as I've gotten older, people focus on women because of the biology part, right?
Mhm.
As I've gotten older, I've met more and more men, 35 plus, 40 plus, who have all these things,
Still
who have the house, who have
regret
a nice car, who
regret
have
it.
stuff, but they're still struggling with dating.
Regret it.
If women were just that hypergamous and all you had to do was just get money and get a woman, why would they be still struggling? That's the show, especially in America, developed country, it's more than money. Money is important, of course, but I feel like low key, a lot of men kind of think that women are more into money than they really are. Like I feel as if they think, especially
I know they think women are more into money than
right,
really.
especially in the developed world like America. That's what I'm saying. In a country where women have the opportunities that men have for the most part. If we're talking about somewhere in Nigeria, it's a whole other story. This would be a whole other conversation. We'll be going in a whole other direction. But I do think that a lot of times men in America overestimate women's hypergamous nature. Because yes, that's true to an extent, but women will look past a lot of things if the man is just good. To them.
Thank you. Thank you.
You can have the money, this and that. You could drive the big car if you're not calling them, if you're not treating them right, if you're not asking them about how their day was, you're not supporting them. A lot of them will still not be into you, or if they are with you, it's just because of what you can do for them, not because they really care about you.
Gene was from St. Louis.
Oh,
St.
say
Louis.
STL, Sexy Red. You know, used to Sexy Red. Hell yeah, SRT.
Quirky teacher said, I think there are many places in the South outside of Atlanta where Black people are walking down the aisle, wide backs, skinny backs, everything in between. I think it's all about the mind. Listen,
Quirky, why you gotta add wide backs to skinny backs?
you're making the point. Many places in the South. He talked about St. Louis, Missouri. No offense, but these places in the South don't seem like places where
St.
people.
Louis, Missouri, South. It's in the Midwest.
Okay, but like it sounds. I know it's not a Black place, like a city with a lot of Black people, right? These cities are not major cities where people are making so much money, but people still walk down the aisle. So how are we not going to correlate economics to marriage?
But that will go against your argument that you're saying that people are not getting married because they don't have money. But these places, people don't have money and they're still getting married. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, so I guess it's kind of like I'm saying. I feel like
you're wrong. That is not just
no, but the more educated and the more money people,
the more distracted you are,
the more they start to overthink.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
They start to overthink because they have more money. So that's the other like correlation I can make as well. Like, yeah, money is a factor, but then no one's saying you have to have $1 million. No one's saying you have
1,000.
Right.
You don't have 70. You know what I mean? Like, but
Mia said, what are y'all deal breakers when it comes to marriage, and what are some things that you would consider but don't really want in a partner? Deal break, I don't know, because I guess you have to.
I feel like you don't really know what deal breakers are.
I guess for me is like deal breaker, like the person I marry has to be a Christian. Like that's the deal breaker. Like I couldn't marry a guy that's not a Christian. I mean like a Christian, not like someone who just says I believe in God. Like I mean like a true Christian, like reads his Bible, goes to church, like a real, like a true Christian. That's
the thing I gotta do all that because I feel like I can as long as it's open to, like, they can't be someone that just be questioning God or something. But even if they don't go to church as much, they don't read the Bible as much, I feel like the main things that you're a Christian, right? And that you believe that, Jesus Christ resurrected, you know what I mean? Like you believe in it. So
I think I need more than that personally. I think I need more than that. I'm not saying he has to be a pastor. I don't want a pastor. I don't say he has to be a deacon.
You're dressing like they are about Moses Bliss.
No, I watched that video yesterday about Moses Bliss.
But you put that scarf on, yo.
And that topic reminds me so much of what we're talking about today with Tony Gaskins, because you look at the girls I hate and like, how can Moses Bliss go for her? Do you get what I'm saying? And
Moses Bliss is a popular Nigerian minister. You're too faithful to fail me. Like he got married recently to a Ghanaian lady that based in the UK that was like dancing to his songs. They met through Instagram. So people that say, oh, social media, no.
No, let me go make a dance to somebody.
Right. So he saw her video, was impressed. 1, 2, 3, they end up married, and people get on her dress like she's dressed like an old woman. She's like 24, 25. Low key, I thought she was like older than me.
She's not 24, 25.
That's what they say. She's like 25, like she's young, but she's very
That should
conservative.
be 30.
Yeah, she's very conservative looking. So
So that's the point. Tony Gaskins, like he made a point in the video. He was like, y'all will wonder why do those girls get married quicker, or why do the girls who've been loose and all over the place get married quicker? And he said that a point that he made about the girls that like been around, quote unquote, is that they understand men better than a lot of other girls because they've been with a lot of men. Just so many different topics, but yeah, that just came up. And what are some things that you would consider but don't really want in a partner? Like, I guess you're talking about like preference. I guess here we're just talking about preferences versus standards. It sounds like that's what you're asking. Like, what? Like my standards is you have to be a Christian.
yeah,
My preference would be I want you to be 6'2" or taller.
yeah.
My preference would be I want you to be black. My preference would be.
Mhm.
My preference would
I'm
be.
pulling your legs.
My preference would be like I would want you to make more money than me. I'm not gonna lie, like these are preferences, right? But it's not like, oh my gosh, if he didn't, I don't think it could. But like the Christianity thing I'm talking about, like that's something I can't compromise on. I can't compromise on someone that is a liar.
Oh, honesty's number one. Oh, honesty
Yeah.
is big for me.
I can't compromise on someone that's a liar. Like I will go in. I can't do a legion. I can't be with someone like that. Like I can't be with someone that lies about everything. Like it would drive me crazy. Even if they want to get married, even if they're no, you're not even a good person if you're lying. But yeah, I'll say that. Gino said my family's middle class. At 16, I got friend zoned by black girls and I had money in a car, but broke dudes had sisters chasing them. Is the complete opposite. I never got a sister with money. So she's even saying that sisters like men with no money. Interesting. Waves 360. I've noticed the less you care, the more interested women are. It's so toxic out here. Gino said hypergamy only works with passport bros. LOL, not with Black American women.
I can agree with that to an extent.
You know, he your bestie now. I love some sexy red.
Cast SIT.
King B. Men are
sexy. Go on, dude. Okay.
He said men are focusing on themselves to get the best option possible because men are the gatekeepers to marriage. And this is an argument we can't even argue. It's the reality. Marriage lies in the hands of men. So women can do all the things. They can do all the surgeries. They can buy all the makeup, get all the weave and lashes. They can do everything. But at the end of the day, if men are scared of marriage, it's almost like what are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like
hold them by the head and force them.
Right. It's only so much you can do. And it's true. Men are the gatekeepers of marriage. So it's like, that's why this topic is so important. And like, I feel like it's a conversation that needs to be had because if we're going to keep seeing all these viral videos, why are Black women single? Black women are single because they're picky. Black women are single because they make too much. Black women are single because Black men are also scared of marriage.
Yep.
That's ultimately the core of the issue of why so many Black women are single.
Black woman prefers a Black man. Same way the average person prefers their own man. Mm-hmm. So if your men are not prioritizing what you want, that's going to affect you indirectly. Not even indirectly, it's going to affect you. Yes, STL's Midwest. Yeah, I watch one of my YouTubers that's from there.
Exactly. Speaking of people who are educated and those without as much education, mid-sized cities, Charleston, South Carolina, Savannah, Georgia, Augusta, Georgia, Greenville, South Carolina, Greensboro, North Carolina, Durham, North Carolina. Yeah, I think the more money people of color even make kind of makes them more anxious and nervous about settling down, to be honest. When you guys say you want a financially stable man, is needed? Okay. When you guys say you want a financially stable man is needed, is there a definition of this? Like a certain salary or things he has obtained? Financially stable to me means that he's not in debt. Outside of student loan, I don't count student loan. I'm talking about he doesn't have significant
credit cards.
He's not missing his rents.
You don't have $100K car that he's paying $2,000 a month for.
He's not missing. He's not late on bills.
Mm-hmm.
He's not
credit.
He's not borrowing money from people.
Right.
Like, to me,
put in the salary.
It's not to me. I can't even give you a salary because, for the most part, I would say if I have to really be transparent, I think for a single person living in America, financial stable, unless you're really good with money, because someone like me, I can stretch money. But I know most people are not like me. I'm a couponer. I know most men are not sitting around looking at coupons and cutting coupons.
Minimalist, yeah.
Right. I personally think, as a single man with no children in America, to be financially stable, all like let's take away the
Being
extremes.
equal, yeah.
I personally think you should be making at least around 75,000.
I don't even think you need to make that much.
I would say at least 70,000 to be financially stable in a reasonable city, living by yourself, paying rent. You have a car. You know what I mean. You still want to go out. You want to save. I would say like to be financially stable and like kind of like comfortable. I would say at least 70,000. I was even going to say 80, but I was like, I don't think you need at
I
least.
was saying 60.
Really? Okay, that's not. I would say at least around 70,000. I don't think that's ridiculous for someone to make. I know it's not the average, but it's not like that's so out of this world to make that.
Right.
Especially as a man, go get a second job, go get a part-time job,
Drive
like
somewhere.
work overtime. Aisha said, "No, I don't have kids, nor do I want kids." Okay,
That makes sense, Aisha. You see why I had to ask you that, because it changes when you take children off the table.
Aisha, so let's be honest. If you Black American, do you really need marriage for kids?
Aisha, I think, are you Black American? Because I think it's safe for you to ask that question if you are. But we talk about this speaks to my when I said I feel like what the ideal setup for an average man, particularly a Black man, would be. That would be it. If they had their way. If they had their way. Right? But I don't know, Aisha, you ask them. If let's be honest, if you Black man, do you really need marriage? But when you said you really need it, do you mean as if is it a prerequisite for the average Black American person? Is that what you're
going? Aisha said, "When are you going to invite people in your life? I would love to see Black
yes,
American women with y'all."
Yes, we're gonna put a title for people come and say that we bringing in women who not Black American to talk about Black American issues now.
Listen, the immigrants are talking about Black Americans.
Yes, I shared the live. Oh my God, we already went an hour. We usually share it earlier, but yes, we need someone to come in and talk about this because it's very important. Aisha, join in. Let's go through these comments real quick. People also, some people tend to look down on men with trades. These men don't work in an office, but I've learned you can make 100K a year, not financially sound, but make 70K and financially stable. Yep. Gina, women can cause a man to marry her. Gina, you really think that we need you to elaborate on that, because a lot of people argue that you can't make a man want what he don't want. He said, I disagree. You can live and entice a man into marriage. Okay. All right. Hi, Isha. You okay to add you on the stage? You're showing. That's okay. All right, we're gonna add you. All right. Hi, Isha.
Hey y'all. I just got off work and I was on YouTube and I saw y'all. So I was like, okay, Tony Gaskins, that's my boy. So I was like,
Yes, you posed a great question. I want to pose this back. I'm going to put it back up. Let's be honest. If you're Black American, do you really need marriage for kids? Like you said, you're a Black American woman, so you can speak to this topic and not get the pushback that other people who are not Black American are going to get. And I asked you, Aisha, when you talked about companionship being more important than marriage, what did I ask you? Do you want children?
And I said no.
And you said no. Right. You said you don't want kids. And I specifically asked you that because that changes a lot of things. A lot of women are chasing a timeline because they want to have a family by a certain time. That's just the truth. So a lot of men, I can tell y'all, men, don't get your egos too up there thinking that women are desiring marriage because you're so perfect and you're so and they love you so much. Most women know that a lot of men, it comes with a lot, but they want that family. So they're going to sacrifice those other things to get to that end destination. So Aisha, you asked this question: do you really need marriage for kids? Can you really expand on this and talk about what you mean by that?
With y'all being from Jersey, I'm sure that. So I'm gonna give y'all a scenario. This is gonna be Auntie Joe, right? Everybody got that one auntie in the family who's never been married, right?
Yeah.
But she's been with Uncle Junebug for 40-something years. They live together. The income is unknown, but they make it work. They don't complain. They don't borrow or steal. They make it work, right? He might got kids from an ex-girlfriend, or they might have kids together, but they happy. They never got married, but in real life, they married. Just not by the eyes of God, but by common law marriage, it's like they made it work because they both see their flaws in each other and what they both can bring to a table. And that's it. They're not trying to chase down a timeline. Oh, I must get married by 30 years old. It is, hey, if you got your part of the rent and I got my part of rent too, and we not asking for the world, and we just chilling and bobbing, then why not? And nobody's mad at each other, why not? So some days I'm like, you know what? I think Auntie had it better than Mama, because Auntie could say at any time for Uncle June to leave, and he gonna leave. You know what I'm saying? They gonna leave, and as I get older, and I've been married too before, it seems easier. There's a joke by Whoopi Goldberg, and I stand by it. And
I love Whoopi. She always talking about how she don't want to be married again, that she's good, and
she said, I love men, but at 6 p.m. you got to get out of my house.
She said,
because I need my. And I was like, that's where I'm at right now in life, where it's like, I want a man, but a husband, I think I'm okay with it.
Okay, let me ask you a question, right? Okay. For most women, it's like you talk about your auntie and you personally, right? It's clear that y'all really, it sounds like to me that you truly do not care about marriage. You've been there.
She wasn't there, but she wasn't pressed. Like,
the issue I have is with women who are deceiving themselves.
Yeah.
Telling themselves,
I was one of them.
Don't care about marriage because the man doesn't want to marry them.
Oh,
so that's when they go around saying, oh, marriage is just a piece of paper. Oh, what does that mean? I don't need to be married. Married people, they don't even be happy. I don't need to get married. You know, I feel like some women also, they're not like, they don't feel the way you feel. They don't feel the way Whoopi feels. You know why? You all been married before.
Right. So you've
seen. We know ourselves.
Right.
How these women never been married? Low key, deep down inside, they're on Instagram looking at weddings.
Yeah.
They're looking at rings.
Saving weddings. They're looking at rings. They go to the mall, they walk around, they look at rings. But they're telling themselves they don't care about marriage because the men they're with do not want to marry them.
Yeah.
And that's the issue I have in our community.
Yeah.
That's the issue I have in our community. We are all adults. Everyone do what makes you happy. Even as a Christian, I believe in marriage. I believe in, I'm here for Black power. I believe in a Black family. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to live anyone's life for them. Right? But my issues with the women who are with men, and then either they're fronting like they don't want to get married, or every day they're bothering these men about marriage. But you're sitting down having kids with him.
Yeah.
You're sitting down having kids with him. 1 kid, 2 kid, 3 kid, 4 kid, 5 kid. And then you're like, oh, well, when you going to buy me the ring?
There's no need for it.
I don't understand it. It's like, if you really want to be married, things happen, mistakes happen. After the 1 child, don't have no more kids with him.
Yeah.
Because the more kids you have with this man, the harder it's going to be to walk away from this man.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be a single mother, okay? We've experienced it first. I wouldn't wish, like, when I see women say, oh, well, if I don't find a man, I'm going to just go get a child and take care of it by myself. I want to throw up.
Yeah.
Because I would never purposely make myself a single mother.
Yeah, no.
I would never. I'd rather marry a man that's 5'7", that I'm not even crazy about, just so my child can have a father in his life. I put it on God.
Right.
I would rather marry a man I am not crazy about. I will learn to love. If I get to that age and I know danger zone is really there and I got danger, like it's really getting bad and I really need to settle down, I'd rather marry a man who is 5'7", that's just okay. I'm not crazy about him just because I want my child to have a father in his life.
No, I can understand that.
So I don't know.
And when you talk about, like I said, when you talk about really needing marriage, right? I think that, like you mentioned, the angst that some people may have is that it sounds like they're okay with where they are.
Yeah.
They're married. Like, if it happens, they will probably, but it's not, they don't go to sleep thinking about what the difference. Like, I give example for like an average Nigerian woman, she would never be okay with that setup.
Right.
She would feel cheap. She would feel used. She would feel like the man doesn't truly respect her and value her. Even if she was in that situation, she would be managing it based on maybe age or based on maybe
he's super rich. Maybe if he's super
rich or something. But I know deep down inside, she wouldn't truly be happy.
But that's also because of y'all's culture. It's about family. And this is why I say, as a Black American, I kind of want to speak on the Black Americans, because I know some people don't want to say it, but I'll take the beat down for what I'm about to say, right? But I just want to keep it 1,000 with this, right? If we look at the past 10, 15 years as a Black American, marriage is not even in our sight from our parents. And some of us, even our grandparents were never married. Versus other cultures like an Indian or an African or Middle Eastern, marriage is far beyond name. It's about legacy. And I have to say this, and y'all can beat me up in the chat. For the last 20 years, what legacy do a lot of Black Americans have? The last 20 years. I ain't saying about MLK and I'm saying from the 80s up until now, what legacy do we have after the crack Eric had came in? What legacy do we have that we can fall back on? Because once our grandparents die, like once the elders go away, it's just us. Once Uncle Junebug and them die in the next 10 years, as a Black American, we don't have them, nothing else. At least with you all being Igbo or Yoruba or Hausa, y'all got people lines. A lot of us don't have that. A lot of our lines stop at 1985.
And you think that's due to not getting married?
Pardon?
Do you think that is a result of the declining marriage rates in the Black American community?
Because yes, and I say that because at that time, and I hate to kind of borrow from the red pillars and the thinkers, but at that point, women are now making their own money, right? Section 8. Even though we hate to speak about this kind of stuff, but this stuff does play a part on why we're looking at it as, because remember now, back in the days when welfare first came around, a woman could only get an apartment if she had what? Not a man in the house.
That's what they always say. She can't.
Yeah, that's a real thing. And like even now, for you to get on certain kind of levels of like high Section 8, you cannot have a male provider in the household. Because then at that point, why are you on Section 8 then?
Right. But do you think people, but then that argument isn't, because I read a book called Is Marriage for White People? Great book. I really would recommend it to like everyone. It really changed my perspective. It has stats talking about like in the 60s, Black people were married at the same rate as white people.
Yeah.
Even slightly higher. So like it's exactly to what you're saying. It's like it's like the Black community, it's like people feel like they were doing better at Martin Luther King times.
Yeah.
Many aspects of life, even though had the separate buses and the separate water fountains, and it's interesting because the HBCUs are stronger, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Black family was stronger. People were fighting for their rights, but it almost seemed like with integration, the Black community became lax, like a little bit of lax, kind of like everything is fine, we're kumbaya, everything is, and then with the drugs and Section 8. But my issue is that like when people bring up Section 8, are we really trying to say that a woman rather be in Section 8 and kick out a man?
There's a lot of women that would. Honestly, I know a lot of them. Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds hard to believe that a woman would rather be in Section 8 and kick out a man versus them maybe just work a little harder.
There's a lot of women that I know. I know about 5 of them right now. I can say they left for their socials. Yeah. Because the fact that they can get free income and not have to work, or that they can make money on the table and not be taxed, they would rather have free housing. And I mean, in this kind of world, can you kind of really blame them where rent is high, where they're saying, I will forfeit a man and a legacy for a roof over my head. That's how much the government is just taxing us.
And it also, you mentioned these women may also rather get that check depending on the type of man that they with.
Yeah.
You're assuming that they have a man in the house, but what is that man making? How much is that man contributing? So they may financially be better off relying on the government than that man who's not really doing much.
Yeah.
That's also the way you got to look at it.
The question is, why have kids with a man that's not doing much?
The children are already here, and that, like you said, everything is environment, right? Who do you want them to have kids with? If that's the men in their environment, if that's the way the men around them move, that's who they're going to end up being partnered with. And that's who they're going to be dating.
Yeah,
so that's just the reality. I understand you're thinking very logically, but in the real world, you are a product of your environment. Well, you function in your everyday environment, so you may not be. You may think, you may even know that logically this doesn't make the best sense, but like, what are your other options?
Yeah. And I also feel like with that, just the financial history of where we are as Americans, it's just not making any sense, right? Because I had this discussion with a friend, and I'm a very honest person too, and I'll be upfront, right? Like I don't make 6 figures, nowhere near it, right? But versus my friend, she makes 6 figures, and it's harder for her to date. Like she won't date the man that works at McDonald's or the man that
you gotta have a specific live dedicated to this, but continue.
Yeah, or she won't date the man that is the manager of McDonald's, but I would. Or she won't date the man that is the manager of Walmart, but I would, because we're in the same tax bracket, right? So So I don't mind dating in my bracket. But I can understand that once you're getting higher income, kind of like what you're saying was said earlier here, it's hard for you to find somebody who fits your lifestyle. And
Especially if you want him to be black.
yeah, like me, like I only date in my race. I don't date out my race, right? But I'll date a man that makes 60K or 50K or 40K. But the average woman who makes 90,000 or more than that, she's probably not going to do it. She might.
That wouldn't be her preference if she had things her way. She might, like you mentioned, but she'd rather not.
Right. And I don't blame her because she has a certain kind of lifestyle that would fit that. Like, you know, like how we said earlier on the last live that I was in. I don't mind staying in Mallard Creek, but some girls, Mallard Creek, girl, no, girl, I'm in Uptown. Well, girl, I don't be in Uptown, but I can understand, right? Like I don't judge her. That's just her lifestyle. So it would make sense that you would go with your lifestyle. Like I wouldn't date a man who is unemployed. But
Right.
there's some girls who would date a man who is unemployed because she is too. So, you know, it's just on the same, like you said, same level of stuff.
It goes to the point because you talk about how, you know, we have to, a lot of women don't like watching that other space. And of course, there's a lot of toxicity, but there are a lot of truth mixed into there about like things that are really happening and things that people are experiencing. And I remember one of Kevin Samuel's big talking points was about, are you willing to give up your lifestyle? He would talk to Black women that are struggling to meet a guy or meet men or men who are within their league or, you know, struggling with that. And I feel as if it wasn't taken well for the most part. And I think the reason why is because people don't want to hear someone telling them that they should live a less comfortable life. But the way I interpret it wasn't necessarily saying that, oh, you're going to go live like in Section 8 or something. But like, it's kind of what Aisha said, you got to be okay with white fridge, Nissan Altima, never going on vacation.
Okay.
So when you give your options about, am I going to be, because the point is that it's not to say those men don't exist. Black men making good money, they're out there. But the reality is that because they're a minority compared to other races, someone else just put in the comment section, they have a lot of options.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So those men are not running to get married. They're not running. They're taking their time because they have 10 girls to choose from versus maybe the 40K guy has 2 girls to choose from, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Options. That's just the truth. So you're waiting on this guy because you want a guy to make a salary, but time is of the essence for you. And that man is taking his going Little Miss Daisy because he wants to test all the women.
He's Tuck Everlasting,
right? Because he literally has all the options. So that's I wish to play this on Instagram. I saw a video. I think I sent you in about a woman to talk about how what was her name? She's a popular figure. Her name's not coming to her. She struggled with dating. She's a lawyer and she never really put enough time in for her relationships or like to make time to be intentional about love, right? And the first comment was pinned and highlighted. It was a white guy comment on Instagram. Was like, I see this trend happening. I have it in my phone. He's like, I see this trend happening more and more for Black women, but I noticed the Black women around me I have it. Let me pull it up. He said, did she ever try dating white guys? I've dated mostly corporate Black women, and they have been my best relationships. I also see more corporate Black women dating a man and white man as we see them as partners, not as a challenger to our masculinity. 2,000 likes on his comment to this video. And the video was titled, Why Black Corporate Women Find It Hard to Find Marriage. This is probably going to be next week's live talking about this topic because it needs its own separate, because I'm telling you, I meet more and more women. I've been in Houston 2 years, and then it makes like a running joke. Like Houston is probably one of the cities that has like the most beautiful, professional Black women who are struggling to enter relationships. And it's not, and like when you have these conversations, this is a large reason because they're looking for men who are at their level or above their level, and those men at their level, above their level who are Black, they have a lot of options. And they're not rushing. They're taking their sweet time. They're taking their sweet time. So, you know, it could be a challenge.
Are you telling Black women to date down or date out their race?
I think it could be a combination of both.
I agree.
I don't like the term dating down because just because someone makes less than you is not necessarily you dating down, right? I think when we hear dating down, it comes up as very like negative, like a settling kind of thing. But I tell you, I have a colleague. She's a professional woman. Her husband's like an electrician. He has a trade. Someone mentioned trades. One of the ladies I work with, older white Italian woman, been working for long. She's making very good money. Husband's an electrician. Electricians make decent money too. But there are women who will be like, oh, I can't be with
College. I can't be with a man that didn't go to college.
with no trade man. I can't be with a handyman. That to me is the
Yeah, that's what you need. And
her dating a man. He doesn't have a college degree. He shop out all the time, but he treats her well. He sends her flowers every day.
I know this might shake the table. I don't care if the man went to college. You just can't be slow.
Right.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That's all I'm talking about. Like, my issue, if you didn't go to college, I'm sorry. You got a lot of catching up you got to do on your own. You have to really be putting in work. You to like catch up a little bit, because the typical Black person in America, we don't get the exposure other races get. So what really helps us sometimes and gives us that
college puts you in another environment and
gives us usually that worldview is us attending university. But it's not a must. You don't have to go to college to be eloquent, to be articulate, to be
give me a nail weed trader any day. You know,
you don't have to go to college to have money. But the reality is that, you know, at least in my opinion, I can't speak for everyone. When I see a lot of men of color who did not go to college, they're not the type of men I want to date or marry.
Yeah, they're very limited minded.
They're very rough around the edges.
They're very limited. Like, it's like they have like a very closed world, like, you know, way of thinking. I agree.
And I had a bad experience where it's almost like you telling me the basic
experience on that live.
You telling me the basic things I want is like me being bougie. I'm gonna show you bougie. If you think I'm bougie, then that means you never seen nothing yet.
Oh my God, yes, I feel the same
bougie,
way.
Trust me, I'm a little, I'm put together. I clean up nice. Like, I give it to myself. But like, if you think I'm bougie, then that means that you're just not on my level. That's point blank. Period. Like, I'm not going to lower myself to make you feel adequate. To make
you say lower yourself. Let me piggyback on that. Is it lowering yourself mentally or lowering yourself financially? Right? Because let's, for example, you put it up. Aisha's comment about driving the Nissan and having a white fridge. If we really want to be honest with ourselves as women that really desire partnership,
I don't have a luxury car.
Listen. I'm not talking specifically to you. If we really want to be real with ourselves as women who desire marriage, desire partnership, are the expensive vacations, are the big cars, are the luxury apartments? I'm guilty of some of these areas.
I don't care about that.
I'm guilty of some of these areas. So this is not an attack on anyone, because I can be put in this category. Is it more important than you being partnered and having a family?
No, it's not.
That's what KS used to always bring up, and women didn't like hearing it. It's not saying that you shouldn't want nice things. It's not saying that you shouldn't desire those things. But at the end of the day, if you have all these things, you acquire all the houses, you acquire all the first class trips, you acquire this, and if that is necessarily, not to say that it's a barrier, but if you know that if you gave up your lifestyle maybe a little, or you focus more on like character and personality versus what this man can give you financially, would you get a better outcome? Because at the same time, people will use this, and I don't like when, especially men, they'll use this and twist and try and make women, especially Black women, accept the bare minimum. I'm not here for that.
Yeah,
I'm not here for a woman that because she likes nice things and can afford to give herself those nice things, that she shouldn't give them to herself to stroke a man's ego. I don't believe that.
But that's why I don't believe in dating down either, though.
Exactly. I understand I get it. I watch women on YouTube. I have people I really like, and you see women who try doing it, and low key the men are still insecure.
That was me.
Men still
jealous of you.
That was me.
That's what I said. When I said dating down, it's not necessarily financially. It's like say you're a professional woman, but you get someone who's
mindset.
It's a mindset. But I'm gonna say both. I'm gonna say a little bit of both. I feel like it's a little bit of both. Because I do, and I can go days on stories about men, but I will give you a very small, short snippet version of one where I did date a man that was not stable at all money wise, and it was bad. And I think it was more about the mindset, but I do agree that if a certain income, like let's say I make 70K, I require you to make 70K or more. If you're making like 30K or less, we're not on the same level at all. I may want to go see a play or go to our museum. Well, I like Applebee's and we smoke it. We're not on the same level of life thinking. You're not even like, maybe I do want to go on a cruise. A cruise, that's $300. Okay, maybe to me $300 is not a lot of money, but But to a man who's unemployed, that's like $1 million to him. And
Right.
at that point, it's not going to work, even in my marriage. Because I said, my husband became unemployed, and I just saw his mind shift just shift downward, right?
Mm.
And it was one of the worst experiences where I said, I don't care what his story is. I do not care who mom caught cancer. I don't care who mama died. If you don't have no money, I can't, because it's a different kind of lifestyle. When you're dating on survival of the fittest, like you're just trying to survive, find somewhere to eat. That's not a lifestyle that I want to ever endure with. That's how he was raised and born to find a meal the next day, and he don't know where to get it from, but he'll get it. He'll lie, beg, cheat, and steal. That's not how I was raised, right? So certain kind of lifestyles are not for everybody. And this is why I said you really have to ask yourself. I would say go to a therapist or just sit in the mirror and ask yourself, what do you want a marriage for? And there's another man I wish that y'all will find on here. He's kind of ignorant, but when he said this, a light bulb went off in my head. He said, unless you are extremely religious, like a super duper Muslim or a super duper Catholic, or you come from a culture of marriage, or you're getting married for business, why are you getting married? And it may sound crazy, but I 100% agree. Unless my family line is full of marriages or a legacy of a different kind of culture than Black America, or I'm getting married for businesses because I'm making over 6 figures and he is too, so we're gonna save on taxes, or unless I'm like a super Salafi Muslim or a Catholic, how is marriage benefiting me?
So he's basically telling people to really understand why they want to get married.
Yeah. Because if I'm making 40K and he's making 40K, I'm struggling, he's struggling, why are we getting married?
But someone can argue, play devil's advocate, that how about if you make 40K for the rest of your life? So does that mean they'll never, you know what I mean? Like, does that mean you're never qualified for marriage? You know what I mean? Is marriage only for wealthy people? Is it not for the everyday person?
It's not about qualifying. It's just, okay, like, how does marriage benefit you? If you are below average or just the average American, how does marriage benefit you in 2024?
No, and a lot of people I think agree with that. I feel like that's why we're seeing this. Like I said, this, like, people are hesitant to enter it, because I think men, they are thinking that, they're reasoning that way. But before we go, you mentioned 70,000 versus 30,000, right? And we also have to remember that money is very relative. And I feel like someone can get that pass saying I make 70K. I wouldn't date someone that makes 30K, because 30K is a below average salary. But let's say right now you make 300K and you're a woman. Can you say you won't date a man making 150?
Yeah, that's
because he makes half your salary, but he's still making above the average person.
High earner, right?
Well, he's still a high earner. So I feel like that's why no matter what the more you make as a woman, no one can sit here, argue, and say that it doesn't. The
harder it gets.
Black woman, woo! It changes things a lot.
The harder it gets.
And that's how I always go back to. I'm not telling people to go get married at 20. I'm not telling people to go, but if I always will be the person advocating, kind of not younger, but like people to do it before you have everything. Like to do it before everything is, because I feel like that's kind of how in this new generation, people have this mindset, I have to have everything put into place before I settle down. But you have the big car, you have the big house, you have everything put in place, the big job. Yeah. But now you have different challenges. So the person who did it at 24, 25, 27, that didn't have all these things, they had their challenges. They maybe went through a lot of things financially. They had to give, they had to sacrifice a lot, but they don't have the same type of problems you have now. Because you're able to build more, and you're not thinking
build together.
Nobody wants to build in 2024. Black people don't want to build anymore.
They don't want to build together. Everyone wants to build separately. I build, you prenup now. You can't have nothing I have. You gonna use me, you gonna take me to the cleaners. It's just like, I just feel like the messaging could just be so off and kind of negative, especially in the Black community. Like, I get it. I understand, like, I understand why people have their, I'm not really crazy about it. I understand. But like I said, specifically, Aisha, your situation is different. Like you said, you're not desiring kids. So you're not thinking about now bringing up children in a quote unquote broken home. You're not thinking about now having a man, you know what I mean? Possibly, because when you choose to have kids with a man you're not married to, you put yourself at the risk of being a single mother much more easier. That's just the truth. It doesn't mean you can still get a divorce. Tony Gaskins even said marriage doesn't mean that's going to be perfect. It doesn't mean that's going to last forever. But there is another layer of security that comes with starting a family through a marriage versus just a relationship. It's just the truth. So we do have to be real with ourselves about what we want and why we want it and what we feel like we could also do, right? Because I do think that element, a lot of men not desiring marriage, especially black men, because if they're being honest with themselves, a lot of them know that they may not be able to do it in a way that they may not be able to live up to the standard. I talk about that all the time. Tony Gaskins said it. A lot of men struggle being one person. They truly desire to test out the waters. That's a quote unquote biology thing, something that people have been experienced through history, but now women are not as tolerant of that behavior. So this is not back in the day when someone's going to say, "Oh, that's how men are. You have to just forgive it and move on." Women are going to walk away, and men know that, and then they're scared of you walking away with all their money, quote unquote. So there's a lot of things to think about. But thank you so much, Aisha, for joining. You got to call in more often, and we're gonna
Yep, I definitely will.
have our topic for next week. But like this was really, really good. Thank you for joining. Have a good night.
You. Gino said, we're just gonna go through the comments and we're gonna end it. Bye. Gino said, this live is fire. Y'all bringing up some good topics, questions. If a woman can't have children and able to be impregnated, does she really need marriage? I don't think that should mean that she doesn't need marriage.
She's not going to be as eager for it for the most part. She doesn't have as much of the timelines associated. Gino, this is fire, right? I'm still waiting for your super chat for this fire live.
Quirky teacher said, I'm a Black American from the South, and I have seen many people get married since I was a child. My parents have been married over 40 years. I have other family members as well. That's good. Gino said, the women in my family who are married have degrees and careers too, and they was born in 1960s to the 1920s. My auntie is 80 and she is a Soro IE Alpha, and she has a degree. Her husband was a postal worker. Okay, so you're saying that, I guess you're talking about what we're talking about.
White collar mix.
Nurse Muriel BSNRN. That's not true.
You skip Brook City.
I didn't see any Brook City. I don't see that.
This one?
You can go ahead. I don't see
it. No, I was a stay-at-home mom, and my 50% was having my husband's child and taking care of him. Our 50 look differently, but equally as important. I would never go 50-50 on bills, and my husband wouldn't go for that either way. This is his choice. Okay.
I didn't see those. That's not true. You can have a man in a Section 8 house with a woman. They just have to be on the lease and pass the background check. His income would also have to be reported. So why are they saying with Section 8 housing, a man can't be in the house?
But can his income be high? Because if you put him in there, and it's gonna increase your overall household income.
Again, I think it depends on the area. I also believe people need to stop looking at IG and focus on self. You have to talk to what you know is best for you, not the recommendation of others. Gino says the women who rather be on Section 8 are hood chicks who are unable to be cooperative with a man. Single men can also get Section 8 housing. Interesting, because we always think about it as a woman thing. You can be a single man or woman and receive Section 8. That's a great point. No woman would choose that if the man could actually provide. I think that is what she is not getting at. Black women literally had to choose to have their children starve or go on welfare back then. Women don't take half of men's stuff. They split assets 50-50 because that's marriage.
Tell the red pill that Brooklyn City's 84 because we stealing their stuff according to them.
I don't know why men think they own everything in the marriage. My mother was married twice, both horrible husbands. So one being my father. So it's just not about having a father in the home, but a good father. That's good. You have to change your mindset. In all truthfulness, would you date someone who made 100K plus? But was a farmer or 100K plus doctor? Some people are all about the title. That's true. In my culture, the title is really, 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 really important. I think the issue is that if you want to be honest, in a lot of cases, the title does associate with a different level of like exposure. That's really what it is. Like, I'm just being honest. Like, two people more status and exposure. So two people can make the same salary, but it's like, someone that went to college, went to medical school, is just going to be most likely different from someone who just went to trade school. Not saying one is better or worse, but it is different.
And I don't see these comments, but you keep going. Keep going through the comments.
You don't see these comments? I'm going to skip some because there's a lot. Then I see the ones you saw. Black women, go where you are appreciated. But I do agree, most black women overlook the blue collar black man that makes great money. But because black women care more about what other women think about, they miss out. It is simple. The more you make as a woman, the less desire you have for a man to lead your life.
No, that's low key. And I think also the more you're making as a woman, the more you're kind of playing the man in your own life, right? You're doing it. You're buying yourself the nice things. You're buying yourself the nice car. Not to say that the job that's the only thing a man is there for financial, but even the physical stuff a man's supposed to be doing for you, you're outsourcing it. You know what I mean? So it's like you don't feel that void as much, right? You get used to it. It's the truth.
Little Ernest, thank you. You got to join. Why didn't you join? Next week, you got to join. Little Ernest, this
Super
is
chat. We need super chat, little
this
Ernest.
was a good broadcast, real influential. Thank you so much. I really need to read again that book. I really want to read it again in like maybe next week or maybe this weekend. Plus, we're going away. Maybe I'll read it on the plane. It's Marriage for White People because that book really talks about literally everything we have mentioned in this live, from the blue collar, white collar mix to dating out the race to the Section 8 to the crack epidemic. It talks about everything that like so many. It's a bit older, so the stats are a little bit older. I really wish there was a more updated version of the book. Yeah, hopefully they'll update it soon. Gino said you had a lot of comments. I didn't go through all of them. He said, "I'm a thug. You know us pookies don't got money." Gino's too much. Oh my
I
goodness.
like this video.
You know, you behaved today. You behaved today. I'll give that to you.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. An hour and a half is not easy. At least like the video, everyone. Gino, make sure you like this video. Everyone, like, subscribe to our channel if you enjoy this type of content. Super chat if you appreciate us. It's it's not
We
easy.
don't talk about this topic though that Gino's talking about. This needs to be alive. You can lure and entice a man into marriage, but not by ultimatums. Every man who doesn't want marriage has the idea of a woman that he would marry. One of my friends actually told me she's married. Her husband never wanted marriage, never wanted kids. Never wanted marriage. So I need to call her one day. Say, what did you do? Like, what did you do? She said never. Like, he never thought he would ever. Then right now she's married. They have a child. He never wanted marriage, never wanted kids. So I wonder what made him change his mind. Was it really like he didn't want to lose her? Like he didn't want her to leave? Like was it that she was just so fun to be around? Was it that she was super patient? Like I really
Somewhere else.
what?
Mm-mm.
And just and like he and her husband, he look good. Like he's not like like a no, like he's a desirable man. Like he's a man that could get girls,
I think it's also important to understand his why. Was it a bad relationship? Was it what he saw growing up? Like, why for you to make that a decision to not want to be married and have children? There's a lot behind that, right? Like, there's something that I feel like that made you come to that way of thinking. Like, it's not just random. You don't just wake up and say, "I don't want to have children or get married." So I think also understanding his whys would be important.
Yeah, Gino's on this table. He said, "I disagree. You can life and entice a man into marriage." Gino's saying you could make a man get married.
Teach us. We're gonna have you need a master. We need a master class.
Next we're gonna talk about how to get a black man to marry you. Maybe that's the next live, and Gino gonna lead it because I don't know if I agree with this because I see so many girls.
You think so? Because I always say no. Or what I always say is that
a lot of men tell me yes.
I always say no, but I also say it also depends on how anti the man is, right? There's some men, like I said, getting older, even talking to Nigerian men, they're not necessarily as against it.
Marriage.
Not against it, but they're kind of like they're ambivalent, or like they're kind of a little scared of it.
Ready. They're not
right. So that type of person, if they meet the right woman, yes, I feel like you can entice them to marry you because they're not like, oh my God, never. I would like, drink bleach before I ever get married. Like they're not so like against it. They're just not pro marriage. They're not like, oh yeah, marriage is great, it's amazing. We need some pro marriage men to come and be joining these lives, but they're not like so for it because a lot of them, they've had bad experiences, they're a bit jaded. But if someone is really like against it, I don't know.
Hypergamy is not based on money. It also includes status, charm, looks, power, charisma, etc. I've lived in the U.S. half my life, and I'm in my early 30s. Okay, Chimobi. All right, Ella. Okay? We got this one super chat.
Say his comment.
Okay, we got one super chat. What's y'all opinion of a desirable man for dating the marriage is? And I caught y'all live late. My bad. No problem. You came with the super chat, so that's
Yeah,
good.
that's good. I think number one, I was saying, we dragging. We're gonna make this quick. I think from my experience is someone who wants it. Because we're even talking about this whole people who are, they're kind of iffy, they're kind of on the fence, they kind of a little bit jaded. I don't like talking to those type of people. Like it's a turn off for me. Like I feel like my job isn't to convince a man that he should want to get married or like the benefits of it. Like I feel like that's like kind of like an insult to me personally. So I feel like number one is someone who wants it and who is equally into it as you are and understands things are not perfect. Of course, it's not a perfect system. There's no perfect system, but it's the best that we have for now. Someone who is kind. I think people look past that a lot. Someone who is kind, talk about honesty. Money is important, yes, but you missed our life, or you missed a lot of our life. We talked about how a lot of men overestimate Americans' women hypergamy, and even Gino agreed with us and talked about his personal experiences. The average American woman is not as into money as a lot of y'all men think. Those are the IG baddies on Instagram. That's the 2%. That the personality, including kindness, honesty, all that stuff trumps money. Not to say money's not important. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a Nigerian Igbo. I like money. I'm not
Hey,
going to sit here and lie to y'all. I really like money, but it's not enough to cancel out all those other things, right? So it's looks and all too now. Yeah, looks are important, but like I said, if you like when you really like someone, they start to become attractive to you.
mhm.
Right? Tony Gaskins talked about in his video about a woman that wasn't that cute, and his father even told him, but he really liked her, and she started to look really cute to him. Right? And his father kind of told him basically your girl's not cute, and he kind of got offended. But like when you really like someone, you look past a lot of those physical things. Like, yeah, they can't be like hideous in your opinion, yeah, but like they don't have to be Denzel Washington. They don't
Okay,
have
let's close it out with this song. Can y'all hear the song? Can you hear it?
yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
where it is? Yo.
In this chat know that song?
Yo.
His comment. He said he is right because the more women make, the more impossible, the more it is for a regular guy that's doing decent in life would have a chance. But like I said, like I mentioned my last point, it's true to an extent, but I'm telling you, if the man has a good personality and he comes with showing those good traits, I'm telling you, it doesn't take him off the table. It doesn't. Like I said, the reason why we'll end on this. The reason why a lot of women or some women can get so stuck on money is because they deal with the men who don't have the money and they're still equally as poorly behaved or even worse. So then you have start telling yourself, if I'm going to get the same outcome, why not get it from someone who has more?
It's like the crying in the Benz, Rolls Royce versus
In a
crying.
Toyota, right? But I'm telling you, if the one who has a Toyota behaves better than the one in the Benz, I'm telling you, a lot of women would prefer the Toyota.
Especially a mature woman.
Yes, especially I'm telling you, they would go American. Like I keep specifying American women. They're more into. They just want someone to love them, treat them well. We're paying our own bills. We're buying our own cars. We're feeding ourselves. We're in a developed country. Thank God we have opportunities. We're not coming from these developed countries where women don't have the opportunities that we have. American women are not as money focused as a lot of y'all men think. I'm telling you, they're not. They're not as into money as y'all sit there and cry about all the time. I'm telling you. I know what I've seen. I know what my friends have gone. I know what the people around me have sacrificed. Just treat the woman well. Treat her well. That's number one.
Treat her with respect.
Treat her with respect. Treat her with love. Be honest. Be kind. I'm telling you, it can go a lot further than the money you think you need to have will go. But we'll end on that. Oh, Anna. Hi, Anna. I know you're late. Yes, you got to rewatch this because it was juicy. You got to rewatch this. Hello. Hi, Misty. Oh, we keep getting these comments. I feel like Nigerian men are ready to walk down the aisle compared to Black
Of
American
course,
men.
is that it? That's not a question. That's why everyone is running to Nigeria, man. That's part of the reason why. Besides that, they're this and that, they actually value marriage. Even if they're not ready, they're gonna get there eventually.
The issue is that will they get married and misbehave, or are they going to get married and stink?
That's another
That's
topic.
the topic. Yeah.
That's another topic, but like I just see within the Black American culture, I don't see marriage really being highly valued. And I'm not saying none of them get married. I don't want people to come for me, but what I'm just seeing from the people around me, like from some family I have, from things I see personally and experience, I don't see that eagerness in the Black community for marriage.
Especially from the men.
From the man, I don't see the
Even Fergie teacher talked about his family being unmarried and him growing up seeing a bunch of people married, but he still made the comment that I feel like Nigerian men are ready to walk down the aisle compared to Black American men, even though he talks about growing up and seeing a lot of his family in the South get married, but it doesn't change the fact that is that an average? Is that the standard, or was that back then? Was that a function of time? Was that something that was more in the past? But Aisha spoke to her experience.
Okay, Mr. Adirinto said yes, most definitely. We are pro marriage.
So, but it's not just to be pro marriage, Mr. Adorentos, but to be in that marriage and behave well. That's another. That's the part two. That's the part two that we're working
I
on.
only date Nigerian men and white Jewish men. Okay, look at this comment. This is the one. Black American women don't really care for marriage either.
But listen, I don't know if this is Ms. D, but is it that they don't care for marriage, or is that their man don't offer it to them? So by default, they don't care for it as much. I'm telling you, because a lot of people will say that, and as much as people will try and push that narrative, because to me that kind of, and I don't know if you're Black American saying this, Ms. D, you can expand, but to me that kind of goes to the whole narrative of, oh, there's no fit, feminine, and cooperative women out there to marry. That's why we're not getting married. That Black men use as an excuse. Even the Black American women who you are saying may not care for it, the men they're dating, if they propose to them, they would say yes. 95% of them would say yes. They would not be rejecting proposals. I don't believe it. But they may not be losing sleep at the level that another type of woman would be for not being married. It may not be as important to them, but I do think that overall, most women, they want it. Just some women are more willing to do certain things before getting there.
It's not a must.
Like, not a do or die. But
Mia says that they definitely, she's African, Black American, African American. She says African American want marriage. It's not a must.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a must before they have a child. Sometimes it's not a must before they do other things. But that doesn't mean that they don't want it. That's incorrect to say that. It doesn't mean they don't want it just because they're having a child first. It doesn't mean that they don't want marriage. That's not fair.
It's just like it could come later. L2, oh, another $10. You making up for it coming in late. We appreciate you. You said more American men are married than women. Yes, I have my statistics here. I do have that. Yes, more American men.
It's not significant.
Specifically, Black American men are married. Yes, that may be true. But at the same time, does that necessarily indicate that Black women don't want to be married? I don't necessarily think that's fair, because the men that they're with, did those men propose to them? They say no. That's when if we start talking about, we have to get statistics on how many Black women have denied proposals, how many Black women have said, I'm not getting married. You know what I mean? But like, if we can't, I think it's hard. It's hard to determine, because people use that a lot to say that, oh, because there's more Black men being married, then Black men must care about marriage more than a Black woman. But I don't know.
Yo, Gino's really well-rounded. He quoted the Bible. He said, Proverbs 31 says, the wife brought herself the nice things. She was playing the role of a man. Interesting. I'm going to read Proverbs tonight, because I never got it like that. And Gino said, Black women are marrying Nigerians, but most of them are just Ashawo. So those Nigerian men in for a rude awakening. Gino, what you know about Ashawo?
Oh my God, Gina.
Gino said he's 47, so he been out.
47? Okay, I mean, Black men like that. And you said more American Black men are married to Black women. You're right. I have the statistics here. Do you want me to quote it? In terms of that was our live 2 weeks ago. What is it? As of 2021. Where is it?
So Otuolu says, marriage in the modern day serves no purpose to men. It's a financial trap. So would you still be saying the same thing if women wouldn't have children without being married? Then would that give it a purpose? Mm-hmm. Because if you're saying this, it's like, don't you want kids?
If you knew you could only get marriage by marrying a woman, which you start Otuolu, believe
kids by marrying a woman.
You can only get kids by marrying a woman, because from your name, I believe you're Nigerian. And this was a cultural norm back in the day, and to a large extent it still is. Would you be saying that marriage in the modern day serves no purpose to men? Look, Miss D said it. It's both Black American women don't care for it because their men don't want to do it, but they'll act like a wife. That's you saying that. It's not me saying it, but I'm saying when people say that American women don't care for marriage, you have to be very careful because I'm telling you, a lot of them do. It's just also their men are not trying to marry them, so they just have to. It is what it is. They're not going to lose sleep over it. But if the men they're with propose to them, they would be getting married to them. Trust me, we got to round out these comments. Yes, institutional marriages won't be held in high esteem from a cultural lens, to say the least. Yes, but people also argue, stating that a lot of people will hold it to a high esteem, but are they happy? Or are they doing it the right way, the way that is written in the book? Or what did he say? I beg to disagree. Maybe Nigerian guys just possess some explorative tendencies, though. It defined explorative. You saying it really classy. That was a classy way. I'm gonna steal that, Stephen. Explorative tendencies. I'm gonna ask the guy. Do you have explorative tendencies? Never forget. We're gonna end. You know, we could talk forever. I'm gonna end on this. December 2022. It was that month. All I could say is Shiloh 2022. It was a crazy month. I'll never forget meeting someone, this guy, he told me out of his own mouth that this is someone I didn't know. I met that same day, stranger. He told me out of his own mouth and said, I admit that Nigerian men are very promiscuous. This is a stranger man telling me this. So Steven's comment, you speaking to kind of that, and you know, you're trying to be politically correct and say all of that, but I'm saying that that's what people also use as a pushback to say why marriage is not that important, because you're pressed to go and do it, but are you doing it the right way? Right? So let me not talk too much about my people before people start coming for me. Oh, Gino. Another L2, y'all no one gonna sit here and compete with L2. Like, come on, now, you're the only one in this chat. Like, Stefan, are you in America? Bring something. Like, come on now. You can't. You are a Nigerian man. You know y'all competitive. Like, y'all can't let L2 act like he's the only person in this chat. Like, come on.
Just so you know, I've been reading the Bible since I was in 6th grade. I'm versatile. I've been studying Black and African history and culture since high school. Okay, that's great. And then lastly, you know, because it's super chat, we got to answer the question. Most Black women pick wrong, though, and not man of the same core values. They pick the most popular guy that have most of the women and children. Oh gosh, what women are doing this? Do you really think so?
And I think this is a very popular mindset, right? Because a lot of people argue that KS used to always bring the percentage of amount of men who are childless and single, right? It was a 53% or something. You know, people that watch the content, you know, y'all memorize the stuff verbatim, so y'all can speak to it. The man, Gino probably knows, but he used to talk about all the time that like 50-something% of men are childless and single. So people's argument is that women are having children with the same men and having multiple kids with them. So it's those few men who just have multiple kids, but they're having it from different. Because you know, a man can have 10 kids at once. Right? A woman can only have one or maybe twins or, you know, triplets if she's opportuned. So that speaks to his argument about saying that women necessarily pick wrong. I think it's an age thing. I don't necessarily think it's a woman thing. Maybe a woman who's not mature, a woman who hasn't really seen life. Yes, when you're younger, period, you're picking wrong. You're not picking on, if you're 18 years old having a child, most likely you weren't picking on things that you really understood, right? You're a child. But I don't think it's fair to make it so like women don't pick right. I feel like that's a big talking point in the Red Pill community. That's why we got to go back to arranged marriages, because women don't know how to pick husbands or pick partners. I don't believe that to an extent.
All men in the world are promiscuous, not just Nigerians and Black men. True. Facts. I give you that.
Yeah.
In Nigeria, there is no alimony or child support, so there is no incentive to leave. People make marriage work back home. In America, there is more than enough incentives to leave: child support and alimony.
But that alternative, O2O, they speak about in Nigeria, is that better for the woman? Because a woman not leaving, that's better for you and your ego, right? That's better for you and quote unquote the family. But are those women living better? I'm not here to say yes or no because I'm not in the situation.
Are their marriages better, or are they just more married?
Better, right? Or are they just married at a higher rate? But are their marriages better and are they happier? So we can't say that. And I agree with you. That is part of a main reason why people don't leave as much, because women are not as empowered. They don't have the same opportunities. They can't give themselves the same lifestyles that the average American woman can. But is that a good thing? Is what I'm asking. Because to me, that doesn't necessarily sound like it's a good thing. But a lot of men look at it as a big thing because it gives them the power that they want. and it gives an ability to keep the woman in a place that she may not want to be. Okay, last comment, Anna.
Black Americans want marriage. I think they don't always go the traditional route. They may have a child first, live together for a while, etc. Okay. All right. I'll done it again.
Y'all not y'all men in the chat. Y'all gotta come and compete with L because this is too much. No, it's not too much. Keep bringing it. We appreciate it.
He said, and then once they get older, they want a guy to treat them right, and standards are higher than ever, so much that it's destructive to oneself.
You talk about
But
women.
that's a part of life. You live and you learn. So as you get older, you're not going to keep making the same mistakes, right? If you made a mistake at 24 and picked the thug, you're not going to be 30 still picking the thug. It just makes sense that as you get older, you understand the mistakes you made in your life, understand what you did wrong, and you make better choices. But to you, you might look at it like, oh, well, now she want to be picky. Oh, now she want to have high standards. But there's a proverb where we come from that says, whenever you wake up, it's your morning. Whenever someone decides to wake up, it's their morning. Meaning that whenever you have that revelation, kind of whenever you whenever you find the light, it's your morning. It could be midnight for someone. It can be 2 a.m. for someone. It can be 7 p.m. for someone. But it's about you, right? So I understand where you're coming from to an extent, but I feel like it's a bit unfair because that's life. You live and you learn. You're not gonna. No reasonable person is going to want to keep making the same mistakes.
Right. And we'll end on this one, Anna, because I think it's not clicking for me. Okay, and I think this is something a lot of people don't want to talk about. Child support, alimony. Why would a woman leave a good and stable marriage? They don't talk about this part as much, Anna. Men will act like women are just waking up and just deciding they don't want to be married anymore because they want to get money out of a man. I'm not saying those women may not exist, but they're a minority. Men also don't want to be accountable for the things they may do intentionally and unintentionally that drive women away or make women choose to walk away.
I wouldn't even say that if you ask me. I would say that American environment with women working like men and contributing to bills, women are just stressed. Women are stressed, and I really think a lot of these issues are coming from hormonal imbalance. I really think a lot of these issues are coming from anxiety, depression, where you see a woman, literally, I've read books about I'm really into that stuff. And it says there's a certain period that women are known to wake up and want to just be a forest dweller. There's a certain period in a woman's life. I think women just sometimes they just go through so much. And one day they wake up and they just I'm tired. I'm tired. I've been doing this for so long. I don't want to
have the support. A lot of it is because they're not getting the support.
Not getting the support that they need. That they're overworked. They're overstressed. They're balancing kids. They're still working full time. The American lifestyle is not conducive to the family structure. It's not. That's not how women. Women are not men. We will never be men. We're not men. We're not supposed to be working full time and taking care of children.
Because the reality is that even if a man is working full time, the child rearing responsibilities are not put on a man the way it is a woman. That woman working full time is still expected to cook and keep the house clean and still take care of the children majority, but still work like the man. So at the end of the day, she's getting the shorter end of the stick.
If child support and alimony was abolished, more men would seek marriage.
But y'all say child support and alimony like it's only for men. I'm gonna share a link. We have to do a reaction to that one divorce lawyer. I can't remember his name. Y'all know that white guy, divorce lawyer, very popular. At the end of this clip, one guy that's on the fence about this marriage thing too has sent me 1 hour live. He talks about the rise of women paying child support and women paying men alimony. This is not a gender thing. It's not written down that only a man could pay alimony or only a man could pay child support. It's based on who has custody and who is making more.
Most likely in America, they're going to give custody to the woman. If a man has custody, that's really rare.
But I'm saying also based on who is making more. And it's also the gender of the child matters as well. But what I'm saying is that it comes down to a function of more of money than, okay, like we could say, yeah, usually women do get kids, right? But if men were that pressed, they can fight for their kids too. Men can fight for custody, full custody. They can. I've known men that have done it and succeeded. Let's be real.
A man's not gonna get full custody unless something's wrong with the woman. It's not. I'm telling you, it's not normal.
It's not yeah, you're right. Yeah. That's why people associate alimony and child support with a man.
Yes, America's not giving kids to a man, but if the woman is viable and normal, no. Wow, another one. Wow. Them being in
Another,
their 30s and want a man that did things right and have no children and feel like they deserve a man like me that ain't made them mistakes. But you know, L2, how you feel is how us women feel too. Sometimes men go through a lot of stuff and then we have to pay for what other people did to them. So it really works both ways. I understand where you're coming from, but I want you to know that the same way you're feeling, women feel like that too.
yeah.
It
We have
really, really goes
uh,
both ways.
dealt with the crazy women who use them, who abuse them, who are this and that, and now they're so messed up in the head.
I know a medical doctor that didn't work because his medical doctor baby daddy was paying 6K child support. Trust me, it's crazy out there. Okay. All right. Well, y'all, it literally just hit 2 hours on this live.
Thank y'all so much for sticking around. It's been fun. It's been great. We think we know like next Tuesday's topic, but for you all that are newer, we see some new faces. We go live almost every Tuesday. 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. Make sure to subscribe and pay attention to our wall. When we're not going live, we make posts the day before letting you all know that we're not. So you're not like here anticipating and waiting for it. Because I know I watch a lot of people that go live and I look forward to those lives. And I feel a little let down if I don't know beforehand, right? So make sure to subscribe. You have notification bells on. Men can get child support if they get joint custody and a woman made more during the marriage. Thank you. Thank you. That's a big one. I'm telling you, more and more women are paying alimony and child support. So that's another fact when men can make these comments about being afraid to be married or being afraid to settle down is also you need to be more picky about the type of women you're getting pregnant because that's a big one. We can have a show on that a lot. A lot of men that complain about this, they're messing with a certain caliber of women who basically can't even take care of themselves. So when they have a child, they definitely gonna be looking at you for everything. But if you're dealing with a decent woman, professional woman, a woman who has her own stuff, you're not gonna see these things as often. So it's not just to say, oh, child support, alimony, the system. It's also the type of women y'all are getting pregnant. But y'all
Right.
are ready for that conversation. But thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys next Tuesday. Have a good night. Bye bye.
Bye, bye, bye.